Hey again, it's Mr. Lum, and today we're going to be talking about central tendency and what that means, okay? So first off, central tendency means when you're given a sample of data, so here's a sample of data, and how to interpret it, okay? So there's a bunch of different ways we can interpret it. So it could be like, you could be thinking of the average or something like that along that line. So imagine this is this sample of data right here is a sample from a class. So in other words, if here's a bunch of people that wrote a test and one person got a 1, a couple of people got 4s, a couple 6s, a 7, and a couple of 8s. So what can we do to interpret that? So the first thing that we can do is we can interpret it by looking at what is called the mean. We can take the average number. So add up, and how you find the average number is you add all the numbers up and divide by how many there are. So I have my calculator right here. And so we're going to calculate the mean of this sample right here. So it's going to be, I'm going to add all these numbers up. So I'm just going to go 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus, and then add all these numbers up, and then I'll find out the total. And so I'm just going to go 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals, and I get 56. Okay, and then I go 56 and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 different samples, so I added all the numbers up, and then I'm going to divide by how many samples there were. So there's 10 samples, so 56 divided by 10 equals 5.6, and this is what we call the mean. The mean is just a mathematical way of just meaning the average number, so adding them up and dividing by how many there are. So that's one way that we can say. So we can say the average person got a 5.6 on this IB test. So that's one way that we can look at it. The next thing that we can do is we can look at what is called the median. The median is the middle number. So, and how do you find the middle number is you arrange the numbers from the smallest to the greatest. That's very, very important. And choose the middle number. If two numbers are in the middle, then average them out. So I've arranged these from smallest to greatest. And so what I usually do is I just kind of cross off the smallest number and then cross off the biggest, the next smallest, the next biggest, the next smallest, the next biggest, the next smallest, and the next biggest. And I have two numbers right here that are in the middle. Now they happen to both be 6, but if you have two numbers that are in the middle, you add them up, 6 plus 6, and since we have two numbers there, divided by 2, that's just going to be 12 over 2, or in other words, it's just going to be 6 is the median. Okay. Now, the next way that we're going to find out our central tendency is looking at what is called the mode. And it is the number that is the most common, which number we see the most. If more than one number is seen the most, then it is possible to have more than one mode. So we're going to take a look at which one is the mode, and we see this number 4 is written 3 times. So 4 is written 3 times. 6 is written 2 times. And 8 is written down 3 times. 8 is written 3 times. The number 1 and the number 7 are only written down once. Okay? So, since this one is not the most, this one is the most, and it is tied with this one. So we have two modes here. The modes that we have are 4 and 8. So we have two modes. Number 6 is not a mode. It is not the most, okay? So if you have a tie for the most, then that is what we call our mode. So we have two modes for this one, and it's going to be 4 and 8, okay? If you do not take the average, you just write down both those numbers. There are two modes here. So these are 3 ways that we can look at what is called central tendency, and they're really good ways, and they each have a very specific way and an importance of why we would report out on central tendency for this. And we're going to look at why is the mean sometimes better, why is the median sometimes better, and why is the mode sometimes better. So here I have some more examples of mean, median, and mode. And what we're going to do is we're going to find mean, median, mode and take a look at which one is a better representation. So here's one right here. We have example number 1 right here, and it's about wages. So we're going to calculate the mean, and the median, and the mode. So let's do the mean first. So let's find the average person. And this is typically what most people do, is they find what is the average and they just report out on the average. So we have a company here. The company has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 employees. I've already arranged them from smallest to greatest wage. So the least, this person only makes $12,000, then a bunch of people make $25,000, and then this one person makes just over 1.3 million. Okay? So we're going to find out the average right here. So we're going to go 12,000 plus 25,000. So I'm going to go, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people making 25,000. And then we're going to add that to the 1,370,000. Okay, so my total for these wages right here is 150,700. Okay, so $1,507,000 is the total amount that this company spends just on wages. So I'm going to divide it by 7 people to find out what is the average wage. And then we get 285 and 71 cents. So if we were to calculate the mean or the average income here, it looks like this is an amazing company to work for. The average person makes $215,000 a year, but that's not necessarily representative. Like so finding the average or finding the mean isn't always the best way to calculate what is central tendency. So now we're going to take a look at the median. So the median, we have to cross off the smallest, the biggest, next smallest, next biggest, next smallest, next biggest. And this is the median wage, which happens to be 25,000. Okay, and then we have to calculate the mode. And that's the number we see the most, and that is very clearly $25,000. So for this example, the mean would not be a very good measure for central tendency because it does not give an accurate, it makes it look like that people are making a very, very good wage, when in actuality people are just making $25,000, most people. Okay, so for this one right here, you'd probably say, hey, looking at the median or the mode is a little bit better. So here we have another one right here, another sample, and it says test scores. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 students. Okay, so we have 17 students, and we had a bunch of people get ones, one person get a 2, a 4, a 6, a bunch of people get 7s, and then a couple of 8s. So let's find out what is the mean for the test scores. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 people getting 1s, plus someone getting a 2, plus someone getting a 4, plus a 6, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people getting 7s, and then an 8 and another 8. Okay, and so I found the total to be 76. We divide that by 17, and what we get is the average score is 4.47, which is pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at the median. Oops. And so we're going to cross off some numbers. Smallest, biggest, smallest. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our middle number right here is this one right here. Okay, so which also looks very, very good. So this is saying, hey, the average test score is a 4.47, which is a pretty good grade. The median test score is a 6, which is a very, very good grade. But for mode, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people get 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people get a 7. Okay, so we have 2 modes right here, and they happen to be 1 and 7. So when teachers are making up tests and they're getting results and all this kind of stuff, if one person fails a test, or if 1 or 2 or 3 people fail the test, a teacher will have to take a look at it and kind of say like, okay, so why did that person fail? Like, did they not miss a whole bunch of classes? Are they not trying? Or are they, not doing their homework? Or what is the reason? Now, and what teachers will do is they will calculate the mean, median, and mode for when people write their tests, and they'll look at some stuff. Now, if we got a result like this, we had 6 people get 1s and 6 people get 7s. Now, what this would tell the teacher is that, hey, this is the important information, this mode, and it's saying essentially half your class is understanding it and the other half is not understanding it. So maybe looking at a seating arrangement, maybe looking at how people are working together, because maybe all these people work together and all these people work together. And so this is important information, and it's important that we're able to look at a different central tendency so that we can get like an accurate piece of information from this. Okay, so we have another question right here. I would like it if you guys practice this, put it on pause, and see if you can calculate mean, median, and mode for this question right here. So it says a physics class has 7 students, very small class, and the student scores on the first test of the year are as follows out of 100. And they are 54, 73, 62, 91, 37, 62, 76. Calculate the mean, median, and mode. Now, the first thing that we should be seeing is that these numbers are just kind of written in random order, okay? So I'm going to be taking, what I like to do with data is that you should be putting it in order from smallest to greatest. So first off, the smallest number, 37. Okay, the next smallest number looks like it'd be 54. The next 2 smallest numbers are 62 and 62. Okay, the next one is 73, and then 76, and then 91. Okay, so my next thing is that I'm going to calculate the mean first. So I'm going to add these numbers up: 37 plus 54 plus 62 plus 62 plus 73 plus 76, and then plus 91. And I get a total of 455. And it did say 7 students: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to divide by 7 to find out the average. And it says my average is 65, so my mean is 65. Okay, the median. So now I cannot just, when I do the median, if I left it in here and I crossed off these numbers, I'd be going 1, 1 here, 2, 2 here, 3, 3 here, and it looks like my median score is 91, and that's not the case. They have to be from greatest to least. So they're in greatest to least down here, so we cross off the smallest, biggest, next smallest, next biggest, next smallest, next biggest, and here's our actual median. So it's going to be, our median is going to be 62. Okay, which is the number that is most common? Well, we only have one that is repeated, and that is that 62 number, so our mode is going to be 62. Now, this is what we consider to be good data. Okay, these three numbers, mean, median, and mode, are good data. They're all fairly close to each other. If you get the mean is way different than the median and the mode, then that means you have data that needs to be investigated on. If you have, again, the median is way different than the mean and the mode, or one of them are way off, then it needs to be looked at a little bit more intensely. But here, even though this number is a little bit different from this number right here, they're fairly close, and so this data seems to be pretty good and pretty consistent. Okay, now we have another one. Again, put it on pause, try to answer this on your worksheets as well. But you'll be seeing questions like this as well. It says a computer sales department consists of 3 levels, and we can see those levels here: salesperson, technicians, and managers. At each level, the annual salary for each employee is the same. Salaries are indicated in the table below. Calculate mean, median, and mode. So salespeople, we have 5 salespeople, 3 technicians, and 2 managers. Managers make the most, salespeople make the least. Technicians are in the middle. Now, when we are calculating this, we have to realize that there are 5 people. So what that means is that they're going to have, there's going to be 5 people that are going to be making $31,000 a year. So it's going to be 31. And instead of writing the 0, 0, 0, I'm just going to leave it as 31. So it's actually going to be like 31, 31, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 people with making $31,000 a year. There's 3 people making $43,000 a year. And there's only 2 people, there's only 2 people making $72,000 a year. Okay, so a lot of people will say like they think there's just 3 numbers right here, but it's actually 31,000 is represented 5 times. 43 is represented 3 times. Managers are represented only twice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to calculate our mean. So I'm going to add up all these numbers up. So I'm going to go 31 plus 31 plus 31, or so on, or in other words, 31 times 5. Okay, equals plus 43 times 3 equals plus 72,000 and another 72,000. Okay. Now, I get the total for all this is 428. Okay. Now that's going to be, since it's going to be 428,000. I just took the thousands off all these numbers, but just have to put it back later. Anyways, now as employees goes, there are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 employees total. So this is 10 employees. So to find the average or the mean, I'm going to divide this by 10 employees. Okay. So, and that's just going to be 42,800. Okay. So that is our average. Our median, our middle number. So I'm going to switch to purple, I think. And so we're looking for the middle number. So I'm going to cross off the biggest and then the smallest, next biggest, the next smallest, and so on and so forth. Now, since we have an even number, we have two middle numbers right here, and that's 31,000 and 43,000. So I have to take the average of these two numbers right here. So I'm going to go 31 plus 43, and then I have to divide by 2. So I'm going to do that on my calculator. 31 plus 43, and then equals, divide by 2, equals, and I get 37,000. Okay, so I have 37,000. And then the next one I have to do is the mode. The mode is the easiest. Which number is represented the most? Well, that's the salespeople. Okay, and so that number right here is going to be 31,000. So for our mean, it is 42,000, and then 37,000 and 31,000. Now these numbers aren't exactly agreeing with all each other. They're not exactly the same, but that is kind of common when you're dealing with salaries because some people will be making a lot more money than other people. Okay, so for example, usually you have there's lots of low-paying jobs at a company, and there's only a very few high-paying jobs at a company. And so that's why salaries, looking at the mean of a company, of the salaries or wages, not necessarily the best way to do it. Anyways, hope this explains it. You can try completing all your worksheet stuff, and you can download that document on Microsoft Teams. Get some practice on that. See if you feel good about it. And then if you still have questions, send me a message through Microsoft Teams and I can try to help you out. But if you feel comfortable, then try the quiz. Okay, good luck.